Have you ever wondered if something as simple as what you eat could actually prevent a heart attack? Let me tell you about Robert, a 67-year-old retired teacher from Ohio who thought he was doing everything right. He didn't smoke, stayed active, and even walked his dog every morning. But one ordinary Tuesday, while making his usual breakfast, Robert suddenly collapsed in his kitchen. He survived, thankfully. But what followed stunned both him and his doctors. It wasn't genetics or stress that had nearly taken his life. It was what was missing from his diet. No one had told him that certain natural foods could actively protect the heart, reduce silent inflammation, and support healthy arteries as we age. As a cardiologist, I've seen this story repeat far too often. The truth is, many of the most powerful protectors of your heart don't come from a prescription, they come from your plate. Today, I'll walk you through the 8 heart-saving foods that I not only recommend to my patients, but also include in my own daily life. They're simple, proven, and potentially life-saving. Oats may seem like an ordinary breakfast item, but for your heart, they're nothing short of a daily defense system. At the core of their power lies a type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, a compound that acts like a sponge in your digestive tract, binding to excess cholesterol and removing it before it ever reaches your arteries. I've had patients in their 60s and 70s who started adding just one small bowl of oats to their morning routine, and within a few months their LDL cholesterol, the bad kind, dropped significantly without changing anything else. One woman, Mary, 72, told me she used to dread every doctor's visit because her cholesterol numbers kept climbing. We didn't start with pills, we started with oats. And now she feels not only healthier, but empowered. The best part, oats are incredibly easy to prepare. I personally choose old-fashioned rolled oats, never the instant kind filled with sugar. A simple 1-3 cup with water topped with cinnamon and berries becomes more than just breakfast. It becomes protection. In a world full of complicated health advice, oats are a reminder that the most powerful choices are often the simplest ones. Almonds may be small, but they hold remarkable power when it comes to heart protection. Something I often remind my patients after age 60, when every small choice starts to matter more. These humble nuts are packed with heart-loving nutrients like monounsaturated fats, fiber, magnesium, and vitamin E, all of which work together to support healthy cholesterol levels and blood pressure. I remember one patient, James, 69, who came to me after his doctor warned him he was headed toward statins. He didn't want to rely on medication if he could avoid it, so we started with something simple, just a handful of almonds a day. Over the next few months, his blood pressure began to stabilize, and his LDL cholesterol gently declined, not through force, but through consistency. What I love about almonds is that they're easy to carry, easy to eat, and deeply satisfying. I recommend raw or dry roasted unsalted almonds, about 1 ounce a day. You can toss them into your salad, sprinkle them on oatmeal, or enjoy them as a snack instead of chips. For anyone looking to strengthen their heart naturally, almonds aren't just a food. They're a habit worth forming, a small act of self-care with long-term impact. Spinach is one of the most overlooked superfoods when it comes to heart health, yet it holds the power to nourish your cardiovascular system in ways most people don't realize. I've seen this leafy green quietly transform lab results for patients who once thought medication was their only option. Spinach is loaded with potassium, magnesium, nitrates, and vitamin K, all essential nutrients that work together to relax blood vessels, lower blood pressure, and maintain proper blood clotting. I often think of Linda, a 70-year-old woman who struggled with borderline hypertension for years. When we reviewed her diet, spinach was nowhere to be found. I encouraged her to start small, just a cup of steamed spinach a few times a week. Within 2 months, her blood pressure had dropped enough for her doctor to delay any pharmaceutical intervention. What moved her most wasn't just the numbers, it was how she felt. More energy, less tension, a renewed sense of control. That's the power of food as medicine. Whether tossed into a salad, sautéed with garlic and olive oil, or blended into a morning smoothie, spinach offers a natural, delicious way to keep your arteries flexible and your heart protected. It's not just a vegetable, it's a quiet defender of life. Salmon isn't just a tasty entree, it's one of the most powerful allies your heart can have, especially after the age of 60, when inflammation and arterial stiffness begin to quietly take their toll. What makes salmon so extraordinary is its high content of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA compounds proven to reduce inflammation, lower triglyceride levels, stabilize heart rhythms, and even improve the elasticity of blood vessels. I remember a patient named Harold, a 73-year-old Vietnam veteran, who told me he'd never eaten fish in his life because he thought it was fancy food. But when his cardiologist warned him about his risk for atrial fibrillation and rising blood pressure, he gave it a shot. He started eating wild-caught salmon twice a week, grilled with lemon, sometimes shredded into tacos, and after 3 months his blood pressure dropped. His energy returned, and he felt something he hadn't in years, strength without strain. Salmon isn't a miracle drug, but it acts like one when made a regular part of your routine. It's more than protein on a plate. It's a smart, science-backed choice to fuel the heart, protect the arteries, and restore a sense of vitality that many seniors fear they've lost. When I say food can heal, salmon is one of the first I always recommend. Avocado is often praised for its creamy texture and delicious taste, but what many people over 60 don't realize is that it's also a nutritional powerhouse for the heart. Rich in monounsaturated fats, potassium, fiber, and plant-based antioxidants, avocado works behind the scenes to help lower LDL bad cholesterol, while boosting HDL good cholesterol, creating a more balanced heart protective profile. I once worked with a patient named Elaine, 68, who struggled with both high blood pressure and weight gain after retirement. She had been avoiding fats altogether, thinking all fats were harmful. When we reintroduced healthy fats, specifically half an avocado a day, alongside simple dietary changes, her blood pressure normalized, and she lost 8 pounds over 3 months. More importantly, she felt satisfied after meals, less anxious, and more motivated to cook. That's the beauty of avocado. It nourishes both the body and mindset. Whether spread on whole grain toast, sliced into a salad, or blended into a smoothie, avocado is a heart-smart choice that's both luxurious and healing. For many older adults, it represents a turning point. The realization that eating for your heart doesn't mean restriction. It means choosing foods that love you back. Garlic has been treasured for centuries, not just for its bold flavor, but for its remarkable healing properties. And when it comes to heart health, it's one of nature's most powerful allies. What makes garlic so special is a compound called allicin, released when garlic is crushed or chopped. Allicin has been shown to help reduce blood pressure, lower total and LDL cholesterol, and improve overall blood flow by relaxing the blood vessels. I remember a patient named Thomas, 71, who was on the verge of starting medication for hypertension. He was hesitant, anxious about side effects, and asked if there was anything natural he could try first. We talked about garlic not as a miracle cure, but as part of a larger heart-healthy lifestyle. He began incorporating 2 raw cloves daily into his meals, chopped into salads, stirred into soups, even added to homemade dressings. Within a few months, his blood pressure dropped, his energy increased, and he felt a quiet sense of confidence that he was taking control of his health in a real, lasting way. Garlic may be small, but its impact is profound. It doesn't just flavor your food, it fuels your circulation, supports your arteries, and reminds us that sometimes the most powerful medicine is already in our kitchen. Olive oil has long been called liquid gold, and when it comes to heart health, that name is more than just poetic, it's scientifically earned. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats and powerful polyphenols, natural compounds that reduce inflammation, protect the lining of your arteries, and help balance cholesterol by lowering LDL while increasing HDL. I often think of Margaret, 74, who came to me after years of using vegetable oils and margarine, believing she was making healthier choices. Her cholesterol was creeping up, and she felt constant fatigue after meals. When she replaced those processed fats with just 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil a day, drizzled over vegetables, mixed into salads, or even stirred into morning soups, everything changed. Her energy returned, her lab numbers improved, and most importantly, she regained joy in preparing food again. Olive oil doesn't shout for attention, but its effects are steady and profound. It's the foundation of the Mediterranean diet, known for its connection to long life and low rates of heart disease. For those in their 60s and beyond, choosing olive oil isn't just a culinary preference. It's a daily act of protection, nourishment, and self-respect. It reminds us that what we eat isn't just fuel, it's a message we send to our heart with every single bite. When I reflect on decades of practicing cardiology, one truth stands out clearly. Many heart problems that appear later in life could have been prevented by small, consistent choices made earlier. That's why I always emphasize this to my patients. It's never too late to start protecting your heart, and it doesn't require massive changes or complex routines. If you've listened closely to this list of 8 powerful heart-supporting foods, you now hold a roadmap to something truly priceless: more time, better energy, and a healthier future. These aren't exotic ingredients or miracle cures. They're simple, accessible, and backed by decades of research. But most importantly, they give you control. I've seen men and women in their late 60s, even early 80s, turn their numbers around, reduce medications, and regain confidence just by adding the right foods into their daily meals. So whether you start with a handful of almonds, a drizzle of olive oil, or a few cloves of garlic each day, know this: every bite is a step toward healing. Your heart responds to what you feed it, not just physically, but emotionally too. It remembers care, it responds to consistency, and it rewards you quietly but powerfully over time. As we close this journey through the 8 most powerful heart-protective foods, I want to leave you with one truth that transcends science. It's never too late to change the way your heart feels, functions, and fights for you. Whether you're 60, 70, or even 85, your heart is still listening to every choice you make, and it's more responsive than you think. You don't need to become a different person overnight or follow a strict, joyless diet. You simply need to start with a tablespoon of olive oil, a handful of almonds, or a cup of warm oatmeal in the morning. These aren't small gestures, they're acts of protection, of healing, and of hope. I've seen patients come back after 6 months of applying just 2 or 3 of these foods, and not only were their blood pressure and cholesterol numbers better, they looked lighter, stood straighter, and spoke with a sense of calm they hadn't felt in years. This is the power of food when used with intention. And now I want to hear from you. Which food will you begin with today? Leave a comment and let's build a community of people who are choosing to love their hearts one bite at a time. If this video inspired you, subscribe, share it with someone you care about, and remember, healing doesn't always come from a pill. It often begins in your kitchen. If this message has reached you, whether you're watching it alone with your morning coffee or sharing it with a loved one, it's because you care. You care about your heart, your health, your future, and that care matters more than you may realize. I've spent my career studying the heart, not just how it beats, but what it needs to thrive. And what I've learned is this: the most lasting change doesn't come from fear or guilt. It comes from hope and from the belief that even small choices can lead to big transformations. If just one of these 8 foods finds a place in your daily life, you've already started that change. You've taken a step away from risk and toward renewal. You've shown your heart the respect it deserves. So I encourage you now, don't let this video be just information. Let it be action. Let it be the moment you decided to do something different, something healing. Subscribe to stay with us on this journey. Leave a comment to inspire someone else. And above all, remember this simple truth: every bite is a message to your body. Make it one of care, of strength, and of love. The most important message I hope you take from this journey is that your heart responds to how you live every single day. You don't need to wait for a diagnosis or a warning sign to begin. The lesson here isn't about perfection, it's about consistency, awareness, and care. As we age, our bodies speak more softly but more urgently. They ask for support, not punishment, for nourishment, not restriction. These 8 foods aren't part of a fad or a trendy diet. They're timeless, natural tools that anyone can use to improve circulation, lower cholesterol, reduce inflammation, and feel more alive. If you're over 60, it's especially important to know your choices today can help prevent the hospital visits of tomorrow. But beyond the physical benefits, there's something deeper: a sense of empowerment. When you fill your plate with intention, you're not just feeding your body, you're honoring your future. So as you step into your kitchen tomorrow, ask yourself, what does my heart need from me today? And let your answer be one small act of care that adds up day after day into a longer, stronger, more vibrant life.